everyone. I am Deepak Verma.
Hi, Avinash here. I'm a Agri grad and I did all the works in corporate world for agriculture only. And lastly, I was associated with MORD, Ministry of Rural Development, for developing large scale FPOs. Right now, we are here to digitize the agri value chain. So, yeah. Deepak.
Presentation. So, in the interest of time, we will try to rush you through the concept what ONDC is first, then how we are seeing it can help agree overall. For more information, you can reach out to me and Avinash later on. You can also visit our website www.ondc.org, where every information about ONDC is in detail available. It's an open platform with everything is a public information. Most of the things we are expecting community to contribute. So there's nothing proprietary or confidential at our end. It's all in public, being created with the help of public. Uh, Please move ahead. So the basic challenge for which ONDC is envisaged is today the e-commerce penetration in India is remarkably low if you compare that to any other countries. And even that penetration is skew further low if we go to rural India or certain segments, like it is very high in electronics or mobile phones, but very low in agriculture or other things. And there was a need which was felt that can we see the digital commerce, can the digital commerce be seen in a new, with a new lens which can actually improve these numbers. So we are in B2B commerce, we are at less than 1%. In retail, we are at 4-5%, while as an economy, we want to be at 15-20%. This is more surprising because our digital penetration, our digital device penetration, network penetration, digital payment penetration at a global level, yet our e-commerce penetration is not there. So let's move ahead.
Adding to this, while I was promoting FPOs, we used to have a Bluetooth enabled tablet for the farmers out there in village level. They are that tech savvy, they know how to use a smartphone and all that, but they are not able to use the e-commerce. So that's the what we envision to take it to the rural segment.
So
Yeah.
what are the challenges which are being faced in Indian e-commerce industry as a whole? So today, even though we have duopolies or monopolies in most of the segments, yet none of the e-commerce companies profitable. And we don't, and at a level when our e-commerce penetration is a 1%, 2%, 3%, we don't see more new companies coming up. It means the barrier to entry to e-commerce are significantly high. It's now not easy for a new player to come in to break that duopoly or three-party system. And even those companies are not profitable today. None of the e-commerce companies are profitable. So what do we need to do that, right? And as we have seen, India has been a very tremendous good run in terms of developing open DPI based systems, whether it is Aadhaar or UPI. And what we have seen that opening a system can not only increase the pie, but also make overall system more efficient. Like today Aadhaar based KYC is enabling so many systems which we were not even thought at the beginning, and same is true for UPI. Next. And before we go to the presentation, there are some things which I want to clarify, which are the common myths, that what ONDC is, what is the role of ONDC. A lot of people confuse ONDC with a e-commerce application or marketplace. We are certainly not that. We are a network on which different people will build their applications and marketplaces. It is not a single model. It's an ecosystem of opportunities where businesses, startups, has to build in their own flows, right? We don't mandate that you have to do your business in that way, because real market has multiple colors, multiple shades, right? If e-commerce has to take a larger share of real market, it has to replicate that, emulate that, and real market doesn't work on one system. Like today, Amazon, Zomato has a one rule for entire India, one rule for all the sellers. This is not how real markets works. Real markets works on multiplicity of the systems. So ONDC allows that. It's not a central intermediary, and it is definitely not a regulator. It's a community-based approach. And even today, since morning, I'm meeting some of the startups. I'm telling them the rules or the protocols has to come from market participants, because best person to tell us what protocol should be used is the market participant, the person who is going to run that business. He or she knows what it needs to run that business, not us, right? Next slide,
Adding to
please.
what Deepak said, that infrastructure, see, I mean, if we compare with the, what you say in highway segment, government makes a highway, but that is for used for all the persons, even if it is a tractor making
are, I mean, typically the e-commerce platforms has these components. And today, if I want to build a platform, I have to build entire value chain from end to end. I have to ensure supply. I have to get the buyers. I also have to manage the operations. And whatever I do, other player cannot utilize it. So if I go to a farmer, I get him online and another company wants to do that. They have to replicate everything each and again. This doesn't happen in UPI. Today, if a panwala has been digitized by PhonePe, now that is available even for Google Pay, Paytm, everyone. That is not happening in platform world. Whatever one platform is doing is only for that platform, and whatever another platform is doing, it is for that platform, and both of these don't interact with each other. Next, please. So, e-commerce is not as simple as a payment, right? E-commerce has different components. So, what yardstick or what tool we have used to make e-commerce open? The two basic concepts. One is unbundling. Second is interoperability. So, e-commerce is not one single activity. It is a group of activity. In order to do an e-commerce business, you have to run a seller side operations. You have to go into the market, get supply. You have to go into the market, get buyers. You have to run fulfillment operations. You have to run platform analytics, so on and so forth, right? There's a multiplicity of operations which anyone has to do. So first concept in ONDC is unbundle.
It's similar like a physical world where there is a seller, kirana stores is there, then there is suppliers, and then there is transporters and all that. So in the physical world, they all are separate. But when it comes to e-commerce, they also have to integrate, like Amazon control logistics also, then buyer side, seller side, and all that. So this is what the unbundling is, to remove that logistics from the attachment of the buyers or sellers, and they can work independently. This is what it is. Yeah.
And second important concept is interoperability, so that if someone has done something, that should be available to everyone else in the value chain. So that, because India is a vast, diverse country, we are not talking about a European country of few million people. We are talking about 142 crore people speaking different languages, having different priorities. So reaching out to each and every person in India is a very cost heavy thing. You don't want to do that again and again for everyone. So we are saying unbundle the e-commerce activities into different activities and make them interoperable. We'll further explain in detail. So this is what we are saying. This is the traditional e-commerce system, the way it is, and this is the ONDC ecosystem, wherein each activity has become an independent node, and these nodes talk to each other through open protocols. And today, Amazon front end only talk to Amazon backend, and they talk to each other through a proprietary protocol. Only Amazon backend can understand Amazon frontend's message. What we are saying, even if you are running a whole ecosystem yourself, make these communications through open protocols so that anyone can understand that. And what this will do, let's go to the next slide. This will open plethora of possibilities. So in original thing, this upper system was not talking to the lower system. Now, since these are independent components and connected through open protocols, now they can talk to each other. So a seller which has come on platform 2 is now also accessible to a buyer on platform 1, and vice versa, and multiple options are possible, right? So not everyone now will not have to go to a same buyer or same seller again and again.
Like
Next.
if I am a customer, I mean, I am having an application of Flipkart, and if I want to buy a product, let's say wheat flours or pulses and all that, when I go and I search it, I get the search result only from those sellers who are on the Flipkart. However, if Flipkart and Amazon both are ONDC protocol enabled, then if I search on the Flipkart only, I can get that result of the sellers who are registered on Amazon as well as on the Flipkart. This is what the scene is.
To start with, we discuss about two problems. One, it is expensive to build the overall value chain. Second, we talk about there's not enough reach, right? Now, how this will solve it. Now, let's go to the next slide. And this protocol thing where different systems talk to each other is not new. In technology world, emails run on open protocols where Gmail can communicate to Hotmail or even ondc.org email. even internet is an open protocol based system where any website will be able to interact with anything. Next thing. So now this is where things start becoming interesting. So now, because of these open protocols and distributed architecture, now someone can only create a buyer side application and still take part in the e-commerce value chain. For example, if there's a agri startup which is into farm advisory, they have farmers who can buy. So if in original world they want their farmers to buy agri inputs, then they have to go acquire those input retailers or supply. Now in ONDC ecosystem, those suppliers, those products are available on the network through an existing application. They just need to build a buyer side application of it. An entire value chain will be completed, which was not possible in a closed platform system, right? So if anyone has buyers or access to buyers, they can just create buyer side application and go live on the network, right? Next. Similarly, if you are working with farmers on ground, let's say, like in the previous session, we were talking about that there are organizations which are working on ground with farmers, maybe trying to improve quality, etc., etc., etc. When they want to sell their farmers' product to the market, they are also required to find buyers, right? In ONDC ecosystem, all they need to do, they need to create a seller-side application which will take this catalog live on the network, and the buyers and logistics will be provided by the network. They don't have to again do everything. So newer people can take part in the overall e-commerce ecosystem. So I'm an NGO which is working in tribal region with some farmers. All I need is to train them how to pack, how to price, how to create a catalog and plug this supply into the network. And rest, how, from where the buyer will come, who will pick this order, will be taken care by the network. And then similarly for the logistics. So in the rural India, one of the big challenge is whenever you create any fulfillment network, the utilization of that is a challenge, right? In ONDC, if I run a pack house, I can make that pack house available on the network. So any other e-commerce player, which is a running business, now can use that. Still people can do that. That in the previous session also we discussed that agriculture is all about collaboration. Different companies are collaborating with each other, but all of these are manual one-to-one collaborations, which has its own limitations. This is a ready-made model wherein if you connect to the network, you are actually connecting to the everyone. So we believe this will enable newer and newer players to come and be part of the e-commerce value chain, jinke liye earlier it was not possible. Right? Because they had to build the entire thing. It's not everyone's cup of tea to build fulfillment services, find buyers, find sellers, etc., etc. So idea is you do at which what you are good at. So if you are a Paytm, right? You work with urban consumers, you only work with them. You make sure that they have a good buying experience. While supply from a Kandhamal Haldi will come, a rural-based organization will take care of FPO in Kandhamal who will ensure that an order reaches FPO in Kandhamal. Paytm need not to do that. Paytm should focus on an urban consumer in Delhi who can pay for that haldi. So this is how it helps. Next. And this is what we say. This is, again, another good thing is rather than new players, the network effect, when network effect take place, so if everyone is helping each other, right? Like in UPI, Paytm's acquisition is helping PhonePe, PhonePe's acquisition is helping Google Pay. Similarly, when we are saying, so this entire network, so if a buyer has been acquired by anyone on the network, that buyer is on network. If a seller has been acquired by anyone on the seller, that seller is on network. That is not true for the platform world. If a Kandhamal Haldi seller has been acquired today by www.buyhaldi.com, that seller is only available on that website. While if a seller has been acquired by someone on the network, that Haldi seller is available to the entire world, right? Entire universe of the sellers, and same for everything. So the network can grow as one large unit, right? And this is, we believe, will help cover the uncovered ground, which is, I mean, agri, we all know there's no e-commerce in agri practically. Next. And this is a bit technical. So apart from buyer, seller, logistic, there are other things which are needed to enable e-commerce, right? You have to have a uh, issue grievance के लिए you need a mechanism, you need a registry system, you need some data. So reputation is important. So what reputation we are saying, if a seller has a reputation on the network, that reputation will carry through that seller, right? We heard a lot that ONDC will make it a seller-based system. So what these seller applications are, these are a gateway between network and a seller. If I am a seller on application A, if I move to application B, my reputation will go with me and I will still be accessible to the same buyer funnel. So I am not hostage to the seller application. I can change my seller applications the way we are changing our UPI application. If I don't like Google Pay's interface, I can shift to PhonePe and my overall UPI experience will remain same. My application experience may vary, which is the case. Next, please. So this is what we think. So the question we are trying to answer here is, so what we all know that e-commerce or any kind of e-transactions has not been possible in agri, whether you take case of output or input, because there has been some peculiar challenges in agriculture which were not the case in other things. So first being, in any agri value chain output transaction, you need multiple people to come together and work together. If you take a simple case of a maize being procured from the farm, you need someone to aggregate that supply, you need someone to do quality assaying, you need someone to transport that, you need someone to take guarantee of quality during the transportation. It's not only buyer and seller. So by nature, agri needs multiple players to come together and work towards a common goal. ONDC is a ready-made platform for that collaboration. Even today, whichever agri startup has been able to enable any digital commerce is on the back of partnerships. But these partnerships are happening one-on-one, which has its own limitation, right? And if this happens on network, then the sky is limit, right? Once, if I as a startup has tied up with a assaying company, digital assaying company, then only I have got that. But if I get this assaying capability on network, then this is available for everyone on the network, right? So this is something what we think will enable newer use cases. Uh, Secondary, I mean, India is a very large, diverse country, both culturally, agroclimatically, etc., etc., etc. It's not possible for anyone to cover length and breadth of country. So we need regional, local, specific players. If I am someone who expertise in turmeric in Sangli, then I cannot probably work in UP, in Ganna, UP, right? You will need a local players to take care of their regions, their crops, and their value chains. So by nature, we believe there has to be multiple seller application, while at the buyer side, whether we take consumers or B2B buyers, I may have my expertise in aggregating flour mills all across the country. But is that mean I'll be able to transact with all the wheat growers in all across India? Even language barrier will be difficult to cross, right? So it needs different kind of players who will work on rural side and urban side. Today, we are finding startups, I mean, struggling between these two things, right? Whether to focus on city demand side or farmer side. Another thing is, there's a lot of information asymmetry, credit flows, cash flow challenges, etc., etc. And as we know, I mean, in the previous session also we discussed that Agri Stack is being developed in India. Sahmati account aggregator system is being developed in India, which can enable democratize your credit. So by nature, ONDC as an open network will be able to communicate, transact, interact with other open systems. It means if I enable credit as a system in India based on data, that can talk automatically to the ONDC system and that can be made available population-wise, rather than each application going and tying up with a bank and etc. etc. I mean, this is true for information also.
So adding to what Deepak is saying, asymmetric information is something that, I mean, let's take the example of price information of farmers. He does not know exactly what is the price. He goes to a mandi, he just present it in front of the commission agent, he picks up in his hand, he says that this will be the price. Now, he knows whatever price he gave, that is his market price. But when he will come to this digital era where he will be able to know, that take the example of maize, what he was saying, in Gulbarga, I mean in Purnia and Bihar, there is certain price. Then in Gulbarga, there is certain price. He will be able to know and can differentiate it whether my commission agent or whatever price I am getting here, is it the national level price or not. So this will act as a symmetry information for them. Yes.
Yes, I'll come to that.
Yeah.
I'll take questions. Just one second. Another issue in agri is fragmented buyer and seller base. We have seller in every village. We have buyer in every village. So whenever you want to sell any large quantities, you don't get market making opportunities always. So if we can create a large market, which Inam was also trying, if we have a one national large market where all buyers and sellers can come, so probably ONDC is the method which will allow different people to bring different buyers and sellers and make a large pool of buyers and sellers so that speed of transactions can improve. Next, please. And these are some of the use cases which are live on ONDC. This is right now mostly grocery, food. The easier ones are live with applications. Some 42.
Deepak, little explanation of all those so that audience can.
So these are buyer side applications where buyers like you and me can log in and buy. These are seller side applications which are working with sellers on the ground and taking sellers live. These are logistic applications which are providing logistics services.
One more. See, here there is Kotak Mahindra Bank. They have nothing to do with the e-commerce business. They only have the account holders who can act as a buyer for them. They have made the buyer application for them. Now their buyers have the availability of resources from all the sellers available on this platform.
Yes. Next, please. And this is where I want to answer your question. So it's a fairly new concept. The concept is new, the execution is new, some 42 applications are live. And when we say 3K plus, this is some 3,382 different startups and companies are building their applications on ONDC network. Even if half of them go live, then we are talking about a network of 1,500 e-commerce applications working in unison as one single large network. So I think that network effect will come. It will take some time. Next. So this is some of the data points. These are not very impressive right now because as I said, 35,000 sellers is nothing. When we are talking about India, we are aiming at 1 crore. So there are 1 crore 20 lakh retailers in India, some of the estimates says, and some 10,000 to 15,000 of them are on e-commerce. So this number will go significantly up. Next. This is, what Ashok ji mentioned, the board of governors we have. So you can see, you will be seeing many familiar faces who are working on UPI, Aadhaar, etc., etc. And we, get to learn too much from these guys. Next.